And he's such a good baby, you know. Even his poop doesn't smell. He's so sweet.
So congratulations on the opening of the restaurant. So exciting. How are you feeling?
Exuberant, relieved. It's been, you know, quite a long project. And obviously we've been kind of, you know, hindered a little bit with COVID problems. I had COVID. My design partner, Nicolene, he had COVID. I was back up, clear of COVID for 5 days. I was working in Vegas, went back to LA. My horse fell over. I broke my leg in 4 places. I mean, I've ridden my horse for years. It was just one of those fluke accidents. He's the kindest horseman. And you know what? Even though I broke my leg in 4 places, I'm so lucky that he didn't break his leg because he fell. And for him, it would have been even more serious than it was for me. And so I luckily had this amazing doctor. There's a sports doctor, Dr. Jung. He was just absolutely incredible. He works with all the big sports stars. He said, I can get you up and walking if you can work through the pain. So literally I was kind of in bed. I knew exactly what it was like to be a man then because I just sat there with the remote asking when my next meal was. And I was just like, oh my God, is this what it's like? The first thing I did when I came out of hospital was I told Kim where the fridge was. I was like, see that thing there? Like, you might have to open it. I'll be upstairs. And so anyway, I managed to get through that. Ken said, you never complain. I didn't complain because honestly, Christina, I was so grateful because I had such bad damage and bruising to my back that I'm so lucky I didn't break it. And you know what? So everybody exercise, you think, oh, it's about weight and things like that. As we get older, keep our bones strong. It is 1,000% because I've exercised all my life that my bones were, you know, and I didn't break my back. Yeah. So I was very, very lucky, very lucky. God was looking after me.
Good. I'm so glad that you are feeling better and healthy. But I mean, that must have been such a scary experience. I used to ride, and I know when I used to fall off my horse, like it is a frightening experience. But to break your leg, that had to be awful.
Well, I'd fallen off before quite a few times, especially when we had a lot of horses in England. But with this horse, I always felt very secure. I think even the press at the time when I got him, he used to be a Cavalier horse. He was that white horse, is so smart and everything. He was smarter than a lot of people who worked for me. He was just really... You watch my show, you know what I'm talking about. And so he was just like absolutely extraordinary. And you know, he fell over, his nose went down and I went over the top. And I heard my leg break like that. And I was like, and everybody's running towards me. And I said, my leg's broken. I heard it. So anyway, c'est la vie, I'm back, but most importantly, I'm not just back walking, I'm back walking in heels.
Good for you. I love it. Good for you. And then in the midst of all this, of the restaurant opening, and then, you know, you sidelined for a little bit, you also became a grandma, so congratulations.
Oh my God, Christina, if there was a puppy and a baby in the room, I always went for the puppy. Everybody knows I'm dog obsessed. Even my tagline's on, you know, Housewives, I'm passionate about dogs, just not crazy about bitches, you know, all that. So I wondered how I was going to be, even though I've been waiting for Pandora and Jason to have a baby, to be honest. Even at 16, I said to her, you can have a baby, but you can't have sex. Oh, okay, right. Okay, we have to wait a little bit. But I've always been waiting for that, you know. So when they had Teddy, I was there. And oh my goodness, it's this instinctual feeling. I just love him, and all the things that I used to do to Pandora, like she used to say, oh, you're crazy, why would you put my eyelashes in your mouth, and you know, why would you make me stick my tongue out so I could kiss it and all that kind of, and I say, you know what, I said, Pandy, you're doing exactly the same now as I did as a mother. And it's been a really, really lovely experience. It's been very difficult, I think, being pregnant through COVID and having a newborn baby. We've had to be, you know, really careful. But all in all, it's amazing.
I'm sure you spoil him rotten.
Oh, I do. And he's such a good baby, you know. Even his poop doesn't smell. He's so sweet.
I love it. And I know that you had a big party for the opening, and a lot of the cast members were there. I mean, what was it like having the support from everybody come out last night?
Well, it was really lovely. It's a lot to ask people to go to Vegas on a Thursday night. We wanted to open, you know, we were kind of really raring to go. show. And we've had a soft opening, but we wanted to make sure everything's perfect before we actually officially say we're open. But all my good friends were there, you know, and obviously now the secret's out. Garcelle's son works for me. You know, Garcelle said to me she came to a fundraiser for Haiti that we have very often at Tom Tom, normally once a year, raise funds for Haiti, and she came to that. So that's how we met. And she said to me, you know, I was wondering if you could give my son a job. And normally I hate that when people say that to me because I'm thinking, oh no. So I'm saying, well, where does he live and what does he do? So she said, well, he's in Vegas. And I thought, oh, okay. You know, I'm a little more removed from that on a day-to-day basis. You know, I said, listen, I can get him the interview, I can get him the job, but I can't help him keep it, you know? So it's up to him. So she's like, oh no, he's just great, you'll love him. So I said, well, why not have him as the face of my restaurant in the Cocktail Garden? Win-win for both of us. He's a dynamite. He's just got great attitude. His lovely people love him. And now he wants to move over to the new restaurant, Vanderpump at Paris. So Garcelle wanted to come in and support me and him, which is kind of funny. The only Beverly Hills housewife happens to be Garcelle.
Right, yes. I mean, that is kind of funny.
I didn't know her. She wasn't on the show.
Right, she wasn't on the show. It's kind of how weird these circles kind of overlap sometimes. Do you ever see maybe doing a show around this restaurant then?
A lot of people have asked me that. There's definitely some interest. People are talking. But I think right now, I've had so much going on with the 3 restaurants I have in existence in Los Angeles, trying to get them up and running, which, you know, 100,000 restaurants went out of business, maybe more now. So just trying to sustain them and get that back up on its feet. I've got a book that I have written half of it, and I've really tried to do it, you know, because I used to be an editor of a magazine and everything. So I love writing. So I'm still kind of plowing through that, the kind of book that you say almost like to your daughter to read, or about confidence, about how things I've learned along the way. And I've been on the planet a lot longer than a lot of people that follow me, you know, so kind of really like my lessons that I've learned and mistakes I've made. And so I'm doing that. I'm working on that. I have my restaurants.
I know that a lot of your Vanderpump stars were out and about last night too. And I know a lot of people, including myself, were so surprised that Kody and Tom decided to split. I mean, what was your reaction to that? And you officiated the wedding.
Well, you know what? I've been married for 39 years. It's like there's up and downs. Sometimes you want to strangle them. Sometimes, you know, anybody goes, oh, we've got the perfect marriage. They're lying. Or they're married to something that doesn't exist, because I've never seen it. You know, it's hard work some of the time. I think, you know, I have a lot to discuss with them. I've been focused on doing this. I'm very disappointed because obviously I was invested in officiating. I wrote the damn vows. That's
right.
You know, all they had to do was follow this, say it, follow it, and that's it. It was kind of, but you know, I think we've all been in a suspended reality. I think a lot of relationships have floundered because of what's gone on, the pressure, and some have flourished. I don't know. I don't want to say, you know, I don't think the fat lady has sung yet. When, you know, it said it's not over till the fat lady sings. I don't know. I hope maybe I'm going to get involved with that. Yeah, I am. I am. They always look to me for advice, and I'm going to give it.
Have they reached out to you to talk to you about it? Yeah.
Yeah, especially Schwartzy. I'm very, very close to Schwartzy. I adore him, but you know, sometimes you really got to put in the work. It's you know, if you're married, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, you have to put in the work. Do you feel like sometimes he was maybe focused a little bit too much on other things like business and friends and pleasing other people rather than Kody?
Well, we definitely saw, you know, him putting Sandoval.
Yeah.
You know, before Casey, we saw that. And I think, obviously, it hasn't been announced whether the show's picked up or not. I always know a little bit more than everybody else as an executive producer. There's a lot of story to tell in this show. You know, whether we're going to tell it or not, the dynamics is very complicated. It always has been. that is what has made the show successful, because everybody relates to one of those characters on the show. Everybody's invested in it, because when you make a reality show, authenticity is the key. If you're going to bring people in and expect them to care whether somebody tells you to bugger off, nobody. But when it's years of friendship, they're very invested in each other, and I think we see that, and we see them struggle to grow up. Yeah. I mean, I wish they'd hurry up with this growing up nonsense, because it's taking its toll.
I know, it really is. I know Katie said that she was open up to dating again. Do you think that that's a good idea? Or you, like you said, you're going to kind of step in and maybe try to put these two back together?
What, with Tom open to dating? I think take a breath. You don't necessarily need to go from the frying pan into the fire. Let's just take a breath, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want him auditioning people like right now. It's just like, just stop, take a breath.
And like you said, you know, it will be so interesting when the next season starts filming, because there are so many dynamic shifts. You know, James and Rick.
Are you saying the next season starting filming and I'm going to go along with that?
I don't know, maybe.
I know that trick.
If the next season starts filming, which I'm sure it will. I mean, like you said, there's so many different dynamics shifting with James and Raquel breaking up, Lala, you know, kind of navigating single motherhood and things like that. I mean, like you said, there's so many interesting stories to tell. I mean, how do you...
And there's also, you know, when a couple splits, sometimes not everybody is going to give up both people, you know, and there's a little frustration there as well with who's still close to Randall. And there's a lot of, you know, a lot of divided loyalties and a lot of things happening.
Yeah. What did you think of Lala saying that she cut off Schwartz after he hung out with Randall?
You know, I have an opinion. It's too complicated to put it in a nutshell. I'd love to give you a soundbite about it, but it's an emotional thing. It's delicate. And I would, I'll hold off on that.
How do you think she's doing as a single mom?
Well, I mean, that's definitely a struggle, isn't it? It really is, just to juggle everything. But Lala's always been a very capable girl. You know, she's a beautiful girl. She's capable, and I've always believed in her, maybe more than she's believed in herself. So hopefully, you know, she'll power through. And I agree with her. You can't put up with what she suddenly discovered. How can you? How can you be a strong woman and set an example? Of course, you're going to flounder at some point in marriage and get things wrong. You know, I talk about that in my book. We all make sometimes stupid choices, but this seems like it was a way of life for him, from what I'm hearing, which is not the life that she signed up for.
No,
definitely. And Lala deserves the best.
Yeah.
You know, she does. And I think she thought she found it.
There was these rumors that Raquel and Peter went on like a friend date. Do you see them becoming more than friends?
I know about that, because I was in the restaurant, and as soon everything comes to my ears first, I'm like, Peter, get over here. Because Peter, you know, he's had a few love interests over the years. He's worked for me for 15 years. You see, that's another thing. A lot of these people, Scheana's worked for me for about 13 years. I mean, I've seen them, you know. I'm sure that's possible, but I don't know how far that's going to go.
Yeah, and I know Tom kind of shut down these rumors completely when, you know, people said that he may have been kissing Raquel at Coachella. He said he wasn't there, but could you ever see that pairing together?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't want to judge that, but doesn't everybody kiss everybody at Coachella? Isn't that the point?
That is very true. Are you going to be officiating Scheana and Brock's wedding?
Oh gosh, I don't do that, Christine, as a living. I've done it twice. Both marriages have failed, so probably not.
Maybe third time's the charm. I don't know.
I did a gay marriage to somebody who said, oh, you know, I really want you to, and they split up. And I thought, okay, well, you know, hopefully that's not an omen. And then now these guys are in trouble. I'm thinking, nah, don't choose me.
Right. And how's James doing? It seems like he has a new girlfriend and kind of moved on.
It's the biggest story. You know, I thought that Raquel was always very good for James. So that always worries me, because I do think that he hasn't had the boundaries that he needs really to, you know, I think it's a process of, we'll see. We'll see. I haven't been that much, honestly, I haven't been in touch with them as much as I normally am, because I've been kind of laid up. And if I was kind of motivated to get up and get out and about, I was in Vegas because I had to bring this whole thing to close, which I've done. I'm really proud of us for doing it. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh, I see a dog outside. You know what that does for me.
You're like, I gotta go.
Yeah, they're waving at me. So yeah, it's I haven't been, but I'm going to be, now this is open, my hands are going to be kind of all over them, kind of saying, hey, we need to talk. Yeah,
right. And then I was wondering if you
care about them, you know,
of
as
course
they might be to the viewer when they've been around you so many years and you brought them into this experience as well on Vanderpump Rules. I care very much about them. I want them all to flourish. I mean, it really hurt me to let a couple of them go in the past, you know?
You know, when Lala was on Watch What Happens Live a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple of days ago, Andy said, Lala Kent from Vanderpump Valley. Do you know anything about these rumors? Can you clear anything up?
You know what? I know they're talking about that, but I can't validate that at all. No.
Would you want to see like another Vanderpump spinoff?
Another one? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But I honestly don't see that happening right now. About the babies, I'm not sure.
Do you still keep in touch with any of the former cast members like Stassi and Kristen and Jack and Brittany?
Stassi. I just, you know, I just hate this cancel culture. Of course, people are going to jump on me for that. I just believe that as you grow up, you make mistakes. I think if we all look back on everything we've done, unless you're kind of, you know, groomed for politics or, you know, royal family, and they make mistakes. Look how many of them have made mistakes. Unless you're groomed, you kind of, you know, you're trying things out, you're kind of experiencing different things, and you get things wrong. And that's when I think, you know, you really need to learn from that. So for me, I've always said, I understand why Bravo did it. I understand because it was a sign of the times. It was it was retribution. It was like punitive. I get it. But to me, I would have had them sit down here and say, you tell me why you feel that you can do that. And you tell me, you know, almost like, I think holding people accountable, that's so cliche, but it's so important.
It is.
Even with your children, boundaries. You know, even at school, gosh, I remember the boundaries we used to have at school. We had to respect, you know, and I just think that's what it's about. And I think her arrogance at that time superseded her empathy and her smarts.
Right. Would you want to
learn from that?
Would you want to see her back to have that moment to, you know, talk about it and have that teachable moment?
I think she was great on the show. I think they were all great on the show. You know, I'm sure she'll be successful in anything she does. I never had quite the same relationship with Kristen, but as you know. But, you know, I just think that all this knee-jerk reaction of cancel culture to me is so frustrating. I think America's like, come on, guys, let's, people make mistakes. I mean, the president of the United States got away with it, remember? You know, it's like,
so true. So true.
Like, come on, they're kids, you know, like, let's learn from our mistakes. That's exactly what I would think.
Exactly.